2 Presser v. Illinois, 116 U.S. 252, 265, 1886. See also Miller v. Texas, 153 U.S. 535, 1894, Robertson v. Baldwin, 165 U.S. 275, 281, 282, 1897. The non-application of the Second Amendment to the states was more recently reaffirmed in Quilici v. Village of Morton Grove, 695 F. 2d 261, 7th Sir. 1982, cert. Denied, 464 U.S. 863, 1983. 3 United States v. Cruikshank, 92 U.S. 542, 1875. 1273. Constitutions, Statutes, Sind Simr. Traffic, Domestic Relations, Criminal and Civil Liability, Corporate Operation, Immigration, Homeland Security, Environment, and the Financial Industry. Statutory law comes from federal, state, and local governing bodies. Federal statutory law includes those laws enacted by the U.S. Congress. Congress meets for 2-year terms, with each separate term given a number. For example, the Congress for the years 2013 to 2015 is referred to as the 113th Congress. Each year of Congress constitutes a separate session. One of the primary responsibilities of each Congress is the enactment of new legislation, which consists of the following steps. Legislation proposed. All federal laws begin with a proposal, known as a bill. Bill introduced. The bill is introduced into either the House of Representatives or the Senate and immediately assigned a number. This number is preceded by HR if the bill is introduced into the House of Representatives, or S if the bill is introduced into the Senate. The bill retains this number throughout the legislative process. These numbers are important when researching the legislative history of any statute. Legislative histories are discussed later in this chapter. Bill referred to committee. After the introduction of the bill, it is referred to the appropriate committee for consideration. Both the House and the Senate have a number of standing committees that concentrate on certain matters. Once the bill is referred, the proper committee reviews and discusses the proposal, sometimes holding public hearings on the bill. If a committee looks favorably on a bill, it prepares a committee report with its recommendations and analysis of the bill. Vote by legislators. If a report is issued, the whole House then considers the bill and votes on it. If it receives a majority vote of approval, it is passed and sent to the other House. Action by other House. When referred to the other House, the bill goes through much the same process again. If the bill is amended or changed, a joint conference from both houses may convene to work out differences. Both houses must approve the same bill before submission to the President. Once passed by both houses, the bill moves to the President for approval. Executive action. The President has the power to approve or to veto the bill. If the President does nothing with the bill, it is deemed approved after 10 days unless Congress should adjourn within that 10-day period. If this happens, the bill is considered vetoed, pocket veto. If the President vetoes a bill, it can still be enacted as law if a 2/3 majority of each House votes to override the veto. A more detailed description of the enactment of laws is found at http://thomas.loc.gov web link. Initio publication of statutes. Laws enacted by Congress are categorized as either public laws or private laws. Public laws are those that concern the general public. For example, read the following selection from Public Law 111-15 dealing with the bailout legislation following the recent economic crisis. To research. In order to alleviate this problem, federal statutes are code to codes. A code is an organization by subject matter of all of the public laws in statutes. Because of the way Congress works, it is common for one statute to contain many different kinds of laws that end up in different code sections. In recent years, when statutes at large is published, it contains margin references to the codes where the section of the statute will be included. See Figure 5.4 for a sample of a law found in the statutes at large. Note the different code sections affected by the one statute. Public laws, containing references to the corresponding bill numbers and statutes at large citations, are found online on the Library of Congress website at www.loc.gov web link. Thus, before a law finds its way into the United States Code, it goes through several numerical designations. See Box 5.1 for the history of one code section, 50 USCS 4034B. Box 5T numerical history of a code section. Public Law 108 to 458 the initial publication of the law in pamphlet format. 118 Stat. 3661 the publication of the law at the end of the session of Volume 118 of the Congress, along with all public laws enacted during the statutes at large, same session. Laws are published in chronological order, page 3661. 50 USCS.4034B, title the publication of the law in the United States Code 50 of the United States where laws are topically organized code, section 4034B. 54 United States Code. The United States Code contains a consolidation of the general and permanent laws of the United States arranged topically. Private laws are not included in the code. The laws are organized according to subject matter in 50 separate title headings. For example, all laws regarding bankruptcy are arranged under the general tropical heading of bankruptcy or Title 11, see Table 5.1 for a list of subject matter headings. The general topics are arranged alphabetically. However, the titles are officially referred to numerically rather than by the tropical name. Titles are further divided into sections. Each section is a separate law. Laws are referred to and cited by title and section. For example, if you refer to the code section at the beginning of the chapter, you say, Title 18, Section 242 of the United States Code. Of course, in speaking, lawyers often refer to the various codes by their more popular names, such as the Bankruptcy Code. The code books, and some online sites, contain popular name indexes so that researchers can find code sections by their common or popular IY31 theta. In researching statutory law, legal researchers generally search the codes rather than the statutes at large. This is because the organization and indexing make the codes much easier to use. When statutory law is organized and put into appropriate codes, differences between the language of the statute and the language of the code occasionally occur. The law is the language that was approved by Congress. To eliminate confusion, Congress enacted several code titles as law. This allows researchers to rely on the code rather than the difficult-to-use statutes at large. Once approved, the code, rather than the statute at large, becomes the law and is called positive law. Code titles not reenacted are considered evidence of what the law is. That means that you can cite the code sections to a court. Legislative histories. Once in a while, a legal dispute arises regarding the meaning of a particular code section. When this happens in connection with a factual dispute, the court is called upon to interpret the code section. The court gives great weight to the legislative intent behind the law. The legislative intent is what the legislature intended to accomplish by passing the law. While no one can absolutely prove what was in the minds of all the legislators when the law was enacted, various documents help the court make this determination. The original language of the bill and changes made to that language often provide evidence of intent. Transcripts of committee hearings and transcripts of debates on the bill also help. Rather than seeking the originals of these records, a researcher can use United States Code and Congressional and Administrative News, USCCAN, a Thomson Reuters, West publication. This contains the legislative history of statutes, federal regulations, and court rules. It contains bills in their original format, changes, and committee hearings and discussions. Determining the meaning of any code section is more involved than simply looking at legislative intent. Chapter 6 discusses this in more detail. Box 5. 2 common features of an annotated code. History of law, cross-reference to similar laws, references to secondary authorities, references to case decisions. A researcher can also conduct a legislative history using online materials. The Library of Congress website provides the researcher with an overview of the process as well as links to key government websites, Thomas and the Government Printing Office, that provide access to important legislative materials used in conducting a legislative history. See www.loc.gov. Web link. United States Code publications. There are three main publications of the United States Code: the United States Code, published by the Government Printing Office; the United States Code Annotated, published by Thomson Reuters, West; and the United States Code Service, from LexisNexis. The United States Code, abbreviated USC, contains only the statutory language of the code, as well as limited historical information and cross-references. It does not provide any references to cases or secondary source material related to the code section. On the other hand, both United States Code Annotated, abbreviated USCA, and the United States Code Service, abbreviated USCS, are annotated editions of the code. An annotated version of a code contains references to cases that interpret the code section along with references to other legal sources that explain the code section. The publisher adds annotations that are not part of the code. These annotations assist the researcher. See figures 55A, 55B, and 55C for examples of a code section found in each of these three sources. There is, however, one difference between the United States Code Annotated and the United States Code Service. The USCA uses the exact language found in the United States Code. The USCS uses the exact language found in the statutes at large. In most cases, this presents no problem to the researcher, who can usually use either source. All versions of the United States Code can be